everyone. Firstly, thank you very much for finding the time to join us today. I do know from speaking to some of our COINS home building clients, particularly with the stamp duty holiday, it's been a pretty hectic time of late. Anyway, welcome to the joint COINS and Yourkeys webinar entitled Digitising Your Entire Reservation Process. Our aim over the next 45 minutes or so is to not only introduce you to the Yourkeys platform, but also introduce you to the additional power and value that can be unlocked through the integration into COINS itself. And to do that, on the panel today we have myself, Stuart Clues, COINS UK and Ireland Sales Director. We have Riccardo Iannucci-Dawson, who is the CEO of Yourkeys. Dwayne Winjell, the Managing Principal Consultant for Home Building within COINS, and also the CTO of Yourkeys, Dan Making. And it's my pleasure to introduce our first speaker, which is Riccardo, who will be taking you through the main content for today. So without further ado, Riccardo, please take it away.
Hi everyone. Thank you all for joining us today and for sparing the time to spend the next hour or so with us. So, as Stuart has mentioned, my name is Riccardo. I'm the CEO of Yourkeys, and I'll be taking you through what Yourkeys is, how it works, what the key benefits are to you guys as house builders. We'll also be running through some key stats and metrics in terms of what we've achieved to date. And then we'll be running through how the integration to COINS works before Dwayne and I jump into an end-to-end demo of taking a reservation and progressing through to exchange and completion via COINS using Yourkeys. So, firstly, you guys will all be painstakingly familiar with the pain points involved with new home sales. But to highlight a few, there are obviously lots of bits of paperwork involved, forms to be completed, and lots of manually inputting of information. This can result in high error rates, particularly around Help to Buy, DOIs, CMLs, and reservation agreements, as I'm sure you'll all agree. Second, there are lots of people involved that need coordinating, which means lots of chasing for sales progression updates, and the overall time to exchange is extremely slow. A lot of which is down to the gathering of information that's actually required to progress the sale itself. And lastly, the buyer journey tends to be quite poor, with manually filling out of agreements, as we've mentioned, duplicating ID checks, sending the same information to multiple parties, and generally just receiving piecemeal updates on the progression of their purchase. So, what is Yourkeys and how can we solve these issues? So, Yourkeys manages the highly important part of the sales process from reservation through sales progression to exchange and completion. And it plugs directly into your COINS platform, so you don't need to duplicate or enter any details into any third-party system, which is incredibly important. Which I'll explain a little bit more about later on in the presentation. And lastly, the buyer journey, providing a positive and informative digital journey for your buyers buying their new home with you. So, let's talk about reservation. Just click one of your leads in COINS and you'll open up the Yourkeys reservation engine. Here, you have a slick and easy workflow to gather all of the information needed to onboard your buyers and collect all of the data that is required by you and the conveyancers and the brokers further down the line. This enables them to do their jobs much, much faster. This includes ID and AML checks, payment processing, collecting source of funds data, generating monotonous documents such as CMLs, PIFs, reservation agreements, and of course there's the ability to DocuSign all of these documents at the click of a button. This process takes around 25 minutes to run through end to end. It is really easy to use and we'll demonstrate that for you shortly. Next. We know times are a little strange at the moment, and they may well continue to be moving forward. Therefore, being able to complete all of these reservation tasks and continue to take reservations completely remotely is integral. That's why Yourkeys includes a remote reservation feature. Just click the remote reservation option when starting a new reservation, and your buyers will receive a link to their own device, whether it's their laptop or their phone, where they can complete all of their reservation tasks from anywhere in the world, which is incredibly useful. So, what about conveyancers and brokers? Well, we know if we make their lives easier, your sales will be completed faster. And so, when adding new reservations, you and your buyers can also instruct your conveyancers. Yourkeys is integrated to all of the top legal case management systems, which means that you are connected directly with their own internal software. So, when you complete a reservation, click to instruct one of the hundreds of integrated conveyancers, and this will send all of the reservation details through to them directly. They receive all of the information up front directly into their own software with no duplication of effort or logging into a third-party system. This process has been proven now to save conveyancers up to 14 days worth of data gathering time, meaning your sales exchange faster. What's more, in addition to this, instruct an integrated conveyancer and say goodbye to sales progression chasing. With 60% of negotiators' time spent on chasing sales updates, we think this is a really important one. We call it autopilot mode. Just sit back, and as tasks are completed by the buyer's conveyancer, those updates are automatically streamed back into Yourkeys and COINS. Searches returned, enquiries raised, deposit monies requested, plus dozens more updates, all returned automatically into Yourkeys. See exactly where you are in real time on every sale. It's that easy. And all of your reporting is updated automatically too. Just to round off, we believe in delivering a 5-star customer journey for your buyers. They deserve it, right? Yourkeys provides a white-labelled digital portal for your buyers to guide them through their purchase, from completing all of their reservation tasks to tracking their purchase and storing their documents. This frees up your negotiators' time to spend on your white glove sales process, whilst we take care of all of the admin. So, some key stats about what we've achieved for our clients so far. For those using integrated conveyancers, we've seen a 19-day reduction in the time to exchange on average across our client base. We've reduced the time to complete a reservation significantly. We've eradicated errors on documents and applications. And we've seen up to a 50% reduction in the time spent on sales progression per plot sale. In addition, we've seen over 60% of our reservations taken remotely over the last 3 months, which is a great indicator of what the market requires at this moment in time. So, I'll shortly be handing over to Dwayne to run through a demo, but here's a quick reminder of the functionality we're adding to your COINS platform. Number 1, we're automating your buyer onboarding via our slick reservation process. 2, we're giving you real-time case progression tracking to reduce your time and effort considerably. And number 3, we're also looking after your buyer's digital journey with their own secure portal to complete tasks and track their progress online. So, lastly, how does it work? Well, all of your development and plot information is held within your COINS platform as it currently is. So all you have to do is switch on the Yourkeys integration with COINS version 11.13. That's 11.13, and you're ready to go. This will activate a Reserve with Yourkeys button in COINS. So just click this to get started. Yourkeys will then guide you through the simple steps to complete your reservation. Once you're complete, all of the sales progression milestones will be pulled back into COINS in real time. It's as easy as that. So, without further ado, let me hand over to Dwayne to show you how it works in real life. Thanks, everyone.
Hi, my name is Dwayne Wingell. I'm a managing consultant at COINS. I'll be running through a quick demo showing a new reservation starting in COINS. All of the reservation information being collected and pulled together by Yourkeys, and then that information being pulled back into COINS along with all the subsequent sales progression updates. So here goes, let's dive in.
Hello everyone.
Today we're going to go through the COINS integration with Yourkeys. As you can see, I've got my development selected and the tiles refreshed depending on that development that I've got. Before I go into the development level detail, if I click on the Rubik's Cube to go into the setup of the Yourkeys, under configuration you have one function called Yourkeys setup. Within that you have four main tabs: parameters, user mappings, documents, and any related functions as well. Within the parameters, you need to ensure that you've got the Yourkeys environment set up, the builder reference, the password, the username, reasons for buying, the reservation event code, and sales schemes. Once that is set up, you can then move on into the user mappings, where you select the users, ensure that you've got the names and the email addresses, and the Yourkeys seller reference. Under documents, you need to ensure that you've got the Yourkeys types and the document group that is in relation to. With the related functions, if you go into dwelling types as an example, you need to ensure that the dwelling types are mapped to a Yourkeys category as well. The same applies for the employment status, incentive categories, and so on. Once you have set all that up, you can then go into the development and use your plots to move them across to Yourkeys. Within your development, under the sales Kanban, you'll be able to see your release plots and reserve plots. If I go to the actual development under sales admin, development maintenance, I can then see how the plots are set up against the development. With those plots, if I open one up, I can see things like the garage and parking, the construction method, the dwelling type, the program, and the handing. With these plots, you need to ensure that there is a plot group associated to it and a current forecast price. Once this has been set up, you can then undo, and under options you can publish your details for the development to Yourkeys. You also have the ability to deactivate it in Yourkeys. If I close the screen down and go to the site sales Kanban, I can then move my plots from released to reserved and so on, to the point of occupying those plots. For the reservation process, however, if I click in on the details of the reserved plot, now because it's linked to Yourkeys, I get an Open in Yourkeys button. I can then click that to process this plot and get details back from anything that has happened within Yourkeys.
Thanks, Dwayne. I can take over from here. So, hi guys, it's me, Ricardo. So, Dwayne has just clicked the Reserve in Yourkeys button within COINS, and it's jumped across into Yourkeys now, and the screen we're faced with is this Unit Details Review screen. So, this is just a confirmation that all the information about the development and this particular plot has been pulled through correctly from COINS. It'll also flag if any information is incomplete, and you can include or add this information at this point. I'm going to click Save and Next. This next screen asks for what type of reservation is it going to be. As we described in the build-up, we have two ways of processing reservations with Yourkeys. One is if the buyer is present or they are with you over Zoom, and we can go through the entire reservation process here and now. The other way is if they are not present with you, and Yourkeys will ask you for some basic information about the purchase, including the agreed price and any incentives that have been included, and then all of the tasks surrounding this reservation will be sent to the buyer for them to complete on their own device in their own time. For the sake of this demonstration, we're going to click Yes so that you can get a complete overview of the reservation process within Yourkeys. I'm going to hit Save and Next. So, here we are, and we can see the reservation workflow opened up. We've got a loading bar here so that you can see exactly how complete your reservation process is. You've also got a side menu on the right hand side, which you can open up and see the details of the purchase. The stakeholders involved, obviously in this case it's Dan Makin that has come through from COINS. Our conveyancer, which is us as the seller, and they will receive all of the documentation once the reservation is confirmed, and also a document store here which will be bolstered out with the information that we collate as we go through this reservation. So let's start. The first stage is to provide consent. This is consent from the buyer for us to process their information. The next step is to include the buyer's details. So we can accommodate both individual purchases or corporate purchases. So in this case, we're going to say that it is one person buying this property, which is Dan Makin. I'm going to hit save and next. We've pulled through some of Dan's details, and I'm just going to bolster that out with the information that we know. So we know Dan is male, his nationality is British, country of birth is UK, town of birth, I'm going to put Southend, his date of birth is 1974, and we've pulled across his email address through from Coins, along with his mobile number and address here. We've also got the date that Dan started living at that address, that's pulled through from Coins. As we populate disclosure of incentive and CML forms, we need at least 3 years address history. So if that wasn't there, it would ask you for that information. We can also pull through the employment status, occupation, and national insurance number. If that information isn't pulled through, you can complete it here in Yourkeys. The next stage is to provide an ID check. So I'm going to hit continue here, and we can see Daniel Makin's information is pulled through. I'm going to hit start, and this pop-up window is going to come up. So I'm going to click verify identity. Within this system, there are over 4,000 different ID types built in, and we can accept different ID from 192 different countries around the world. So I know Dan has his driving license, so I'm going to click driving license here. We have the option here to either upload a scan of Dan's ID, which will then run a check on that ID to make sure that it is valid, or we can actually send a link to the buyer's mobile, which is what we're going to do in this case. So I'm going to hit continue. I am going to enter Dan's mobile number here. And as soon as I click this send link, it's going to send a text message through to Dan's phone, which you'll see on your screen in a second. So, as you can see, Dan has clicked the link in his SMS, in his text message, and it is shown up on the screen as connected to your mobile. Dan will now be guided through the simple process of taking a photo of the front of his driving license and then the back, and then Yourkeys will ask for a selfie, which will run a biometric analysis of Dan's face against the ID to make sure that he is who he says he is. As soon as he's complete, he can hit confirm, and it'll show on the screen. As you can see, great, that's everything we need. Really, really simple, really easy to use, and a great user experience for your buyers. So I'm going to hit submit verification. It's going to come up and say you're all done. It's going to take a few seconds to validate. Usually for a domestic buyer, it takes anywhere up to 10 seconds, which is extremely quick. If it's an international buyer, it can take up to 10 minutes, but you can continue with the process whilst that check is happening. So as you can see, Dan's result has come back clear. If I click this little eye symbol, it's going to open up Dan's scan of his ID. It's going to tell us that the data consistency has passed, so the information that has been included within Yourkeys has been verified against his ID. It is not a compromised document. He is who he says he is, and he's not on any PEP, sanctions, adverse media or watch lists globally. So this means that he can progress unhindered through the reservation process, and we will also pass this information on to the conveyancers, saving them an enormous amount of time in terms of onboarding this buyer. So let's move on. The next step is to include pricing details. So we know the asking price here is 500,000. We're going to say they had a slight discount, obviously 1% here. We're going to put in a reason. We have various workflows here, so if it's a cash buyer, a mortgage buyer, or using Help to Buy, they will all adapt the workflow to accommodate those types of transactions. So for Help to Buy as an example, the sales progression process will accommodate ATPs, ATEs, and ATCs. I'm going to click using a mortgage. The referrer name is me as the negotiator, and the source of inquiry, which is relevant for your reporting, shows that it came from our developer website. The next step is to calculate the stamp duty. Click on any of the types to automatically calculate the amount of stamp duty required. Obviously, for these first two, we have the stamp duty levy up to 500,000, which means that there's no stamp duty due on this purchase. So, incentives, that's the next step. We have some default incentives built in here, nice and easy. Let's select rental guarantee as an example. You can obviously include any that you want, or you can create your own. We have a set by default, but you can, like I say, complete your own and add your own. Any non-financial incentives you can include in here as a free-form text box that will populate on all the relevant documentation. The next step is, how is the property actually going to be used? So these are configurable questions that act as a checklist for your buyers in case there are any covenants in the lease that the buyers need to be warned about. So if there is a pet being kept at the property, if it's planned to be altered or extended, or if a business is planned to be run from that property, the conveyancers will need to know, and therefore by filling out this information, they do not need to ask the question. So, garages and parking. Are there any additional garages and parking spaces that might be included externally or as part of the transaction? You can include the details of them here. For speed, I'm going to select none for both storage and parking. The next step, which saves an enormous amount of time, is to collect the finance information about this purchase and the buyer purchasing from you. So we will default this deposit, the deposit amount, to 10%. You can set that at whatever figure is required. So we can see here that 10% of the 495 figure is going to be £49,500. We click next. We then, what is the type of mortgage? So we can confirm here that it's an owner-occupier. And the mortgage amount shown below is £445,500, which is the total price minus the deposit amount. So we can actually send all of this reservation information directly through to the broker so that they can get this buyer through from agreement in principle through to full mortgage application as quickly as absolutely possible. So we can enter the details of the broker and they will receive this bundle of information after the reservation is confirmed. So just start typing out the name of the broker and it will bring up the 12,000 strong database of mortgage brokers, and let's just select Glow Mortgages here. So if there is a particular email address that you want to send that to, you can include that here and they will receive a link to download all of the information. If you're dealing with a particular person, include their details here. And if they have a mortgage lender already, you can include details here, which obviously aids the broker in their process. The next task, which will save an enormous amount of time for the brokers and the conveyancers, is to collect the proof of funds details from your purchasers. Yourkeys will enable you to do that in a really slick and easy way. Just hit continue here. So if you want to capture the buyer's proof of funds details for this reservation and you're able to enter them now, just click yes and we can go through that process. Otherwise, you can send this task through to the buyer for them to complete later in the day or at a time that suits them. Or if you want to leave that to the IFA, you can click no and we'll skip this section entirely. For the sake of this demonstration, we're going to click yes. What that's going to do is open up this dialog window here. So we know there's £445,500 worth of mortgage and the deposit amount is £49,500. So where is that money coming from? As an example, let's assume that this is coming from a gift. So enter the amount required into one of the broken down sections on the left-hand side, and the outstanding funds section will turn green, allowing you to proceed on to the next step. As the negotiators among you will know, collecting gifted deposit declaration agreements from gifters is an enormously time-consuming task. And for a figure such as this, an ID and AML background check is required on the gifter. So you can complete that all automated through Yourkeys. Just enter the details of the gifter here. For this, we're going to say that it is me. I'm going to put my email address in there. Put my details in and my address. Look that up, hit save. And what that's going to do at the end of the reservation, once everything is confirmed, it's going to send a link onto myself as the gifter, and it's going to ask me to run through an ID check in the same way that Dan did previously via his phone, and it's also going to generate a gifted deposit declaration agreement which he can sign with DocuSign in seconds. The next task is a key one for Yourkeys, selecting the conveyancers. So I'm going to hit continue. What you're going to be greeted with is a breakdown of all of the conveyancers that are integrated into Yourkeys. There are hundreds of them. The idea here is that the list contains a whole raft of law firms that have this little icon next to them. This little icon means that their own internal case management systems are directly linked into the Yourkeys platform, meaning that once this reservation is confirmed, they will receive all of the reservation information directly into their case management system, but critically, all of the sales progression milestones moving forward will be pulled directly from their case management system and updated in Yourkeys in real time. So as far as chasing your conveyancers goes to find out where a sale is in its purchase progression journey, that no longer exists. All of those sales progression updates are on autopilot, and they will also be pushed into your COINS platform. You also get an overview of the legal cost involved for this transaction, and that cost comes directly out of the law firm's own system. So it's real-time, live, and can be guaranteed for your buyers. So for this, we're going to click BTMK Solicitors. We're going to hit View Details. We're going to confirm that they're happy to push the data through to this conveyancer, and we're going to click Appoint. And like I say, once we get to the end of the reservation, all of the information is going to be pushed through to that conveyancer. The next task is to confirm that the consumer code has been adhered to. There is a checklist here of information that needs to have been shown to the buyer. We can tick to confirm and move on to the next step. The next task is to take the reservation fee or the reservation deposit. I'm going to hit continue. For those of you who do take reservation fees from your buyers, you can click yes and include the amount of reservation deposit that has been taken. You're then faced with various options where you can actually take payment directly through Yourkeys if needed. So you can open up the secure Stripe payment gateway and take credit or debit card payments directly through Yourkeys. You can also send a link to the buyer so that they can complete this task and pay their reservation fee from anywhere in the world via their mobile device. Or you can confirm that it's already been paid and we took it via chip and PIN in the marketing suite, and so we want to show that it's been paid, but we don't need to process any fees via Yourkeys, which is what we're going to do here. The next task is to enter any supporting information for this purchase. So I'm going to hit continue. The first step is the major milestone dates. The exchange date will default to 21 days after today, the reservation date. You can change that by clicking on the calendar, and this will populate on all of the relevant documentation. In terms of the legal completion date, you can select whether it's an exact date, a month, a quarter, or a month range. For this, we're going to say that we will complete in Q2 of 2021. Finally, you can add any reservation notes, which will be added onto the bottom of the reservation agreement. and upload any supporting documents that you feel might aid the conveyancers and mortgage brokers in their processing of this transaction. So there we have it. End to end, we've collected all the data. Now is our opportunity to review all the details and sign all of the documentation that we have gathered. So I'm going to hit review and sign here. So here we've got a screen that's got all of the information that we've collected, all of the reservation agreements, the proof of funds. You can open and view. Just as an example, I'm going to click on this reservation agreement and show you a quick spin through of what we've created. So there we go. This logo up here would typically be your house builder logo. And what we've done here is populated a completely comprehensive reservation agreement with all of the details about the purchase, top to bottom. In a second, we're going to be asked to sign that. We've also got all the information about the conveyancers, the brokers, the details, the service charges, the pricing, stamp duty, everything that we've added as part of this workflow. If you've made any mistakes or want to edit anything at this point, you can just click edit on any of these steps and it will regenerate all of the documentation accordingly. Let's say that we've confirmed that everything is in order and we can hit save and next. So first things first, we need to get signing these documents. So proof of funds declaration is the first one up. We have three options. Number one is to sign it online with a digital signature. Number two is to print it, sign it manually with a wet ink signature, and then upload a copy of that document back into Yourkeys. Or you can send it to the buyer for them to complete online via their own device later. I'm going to click sign online with digital signature. I'm going to click view and sign. So you can see a DocuSign version of the proof of funds declaration agreement has been generated. Again, this would be your house builder logo. You can scroll through this, confirm all of the details are correct, and then this can be adopted and signed by your buyer. Once you click finish, that'll be pulled back into Yourkeys and confirmed. Let's hit save and next and move on to the next step. So the reservation agreement, let's show you an alternative way of completing documents in Yourkeys. So let's say we were going to print it, sign it, and then re-upload it. So I'm going to click on the reservation agreement here. There's a fully generated reservation agreement. Let's say that we have signed that at the bottom, which is down here. Another thing to note are the terms and conditions at the bottom of all the documents. They can be bespoke to you. There's a section in your settings in Yourkeys that allows you to add your own T's and C's onto the bottom of your documents. So we're going to go back. We're going to upload the signed version of the reservation agreement, and we're going to get a congratulations banner once we confirm that it has been signed. There we go. Congratulations, and we're on to the next step. So just before we confirm this reservation, which will then distribute all of the instruction information onto the relevant stakeholders, and they are listed here. That's your solicitor, the buyer's solicitor, the mortgage broker, and the buyer. I just want to show you very quickly on this right-hand side some of the information that we've bolstered out in the side menu. You've got additional stakeholders in terms of the buyer's conveyancer and the mortgage broker, and your document store has been updated with all the documents that we've created as part of this process. Really, really easy. We've been through a reservation there end to end, and it's taken no more than 20 minutes. So I'm going to hit confirm. So that property reservation is complete. You can see that the instructions have been sent out to all of the relevant stakeholders. I'm going to show you some of those emails that get sent out right now, very quickly. So here's the first one to Dan. This would be your house builder logo typically. So Dan gets a congratulations email with some details of his purchase. He can see some of the main tasks that he completed, and there's a PDF attached to this email which has some details guiding him through the process of the conveyancing process to guide them through seamlessly to exchange and completion. They can also click the sign in button, which allows them to log into their portal to track that purchase all the way through to exchange and completion. Another email of note is this email goes out to your seller's solicitor. They can click upload the draft contract pack in this email, they enter their access code, they download all of the reservation information, and then they can very easily and securely upload the draft contract pack into Yourkeys, and that will notify everyone in the process that that task has been completed. So back in Yourkeys, I'm going to click go to the reservation summary here. The reservation summary here gives us an overview of all of the tasks that were completed as part of this reservation. If anything happens that changes, I can click the review and edit button here, which will allow me to change any of the details about this sale, and that will generate any of the documents that have been affected automatically, instantly. So now I want to draw your attention to progression. So if I click on this tab, the sales progression tab here, you can see a breakdown of all of the milestones through to exchange of contracts and legal completion. If I open these up, you can see they are incredibly granular and detailed in terms of the steps that the conveyancer will be going through on behalf of the buyer to get this buyer through to exchange. Let me just remind myself who the conveyancer is here. So it's BTMK Solicitors, and we can see their logo shown in this center column here. So when BTMK update their own platform, their own system with these milestones that have been completed, these statuses will change from pending to completed, and you guys as Yourkeys users will be able to see those statuses updated in real time, and you'll be able to see real-time progression pulled into Yourkeys, and then ultimately those updates are synced back into COINS, which I'm going to show you in a second. So let's jump back into COINS. So here I am back in COINS. I can see that the information here has been pulled back through. If I click on this button here, this has pulled through all of the documentation that we've created, the reservation agreement, source of funds, etc. And if I jump back in this progression section here, all of the sales progression milestones, as and when they are completed by the solicitor, will be pulled back in real time into your progression view in COINS, so that you have real-time oversight across your platforms of where that buyer is in their journey at any one time. No more chasing, an enormous amount of time saved, and a fantastic journey for your buyers end to end. If at any point you want to jump back into Yourkeys to view any of the details, amend any of the transaction or sale information, transfer plots, add delays, check on any of the details at all, you can jump back into Yourkeys directly into that plot progression via the button in the top right hand corner up here. So I hope you enjoyed that demonstration. I'm now going to hand back to the guys who are going to open up for some questions. Thank you very much.